A master once said, a mind that clings is like a river trying to hold the wind. It will only disturb its own waters. Emotional maturity is not about suppressing emotions or forcing oneself to remain unaffected by the world. It is about meeting reality with clarity, responding instead of reacting, and flowing like water rather than breaking like a brittle branch. The true test of emotional maturity is not found in still moments, but in the chaos of life. When insulted, do you flare up with anger or smile with understanding? When faced with failure, do you crumble in despair or learn from the fall? When relationships shift, do you grasp at them desperately or embrace change with grace? Zen teachings remind us that emotional immaturity is rooted in attachment. The need for control, validation, or external stability. The wise do not chase the illusion of permanence, but instead embrace impermanence, flowing effortlessly with life's currents. But how does one test their emotional maturity in real life? Words can sound wise, yet wisdom is only revealed through experience. Let us step into the journey of a traveler who unknowingly embarks on the greatest test of all, the test of his own mind. The story of the restless traveler, traveler, set out on a long journey, seeking wisdom from a distant mountain known to house the most enlightened teacher. He had spent years reading sacred texts, practicing meditation, and disciplining his mind, believing he was ready to receive the highest teachings. One evening, he arrived at an inn along the way. Tired from his journey, he sat near the fire, observing the others around him. The inn was filled with all kinds of people, merchants, farmers, beggars, and wandering monks. As he sat, a rough-looking man spilled wine onto his robe. The traveler's eyes flickered with irritation. He was about to scold the man when he caught himself. A wise man does not react to minor disturbances, he reminded himself. He forced a smile and wiped his robe, thinking he had passed his first test. But as the night went on, he found himself growing impatient. The noise of laughter, the smell of food, and the sight of people indulging in their desires made him uncomfortable. He had disciplined himself so strictly that he saw their behavior as foolishness. These people are so lost, he thought. They do not understand the higher truths. At that moment, an old monk beside him spoke. "You seem troubled, traveler." The traveler hesitated. "I seek wisdom, but I find it hard to be among people who lack it." The monk smiled. "Then your wisdom is still untested. What is a candle's purpose?" "To give light," the traveler replied. "Does it complain when placed in a dark room?" The traveler was silent. The monk continued, "If your wisdom cannot exist among the unwise, then it is not wisdom at all. If your peace crumbles in chaos, then it is merely an illusion." The traveler frowned, feeling a sting of offense. Was he being accused of lacking wisdom? He had meditated for years, controlled his emotions, and learned sacred teachings. Yet, at this moment he felt small, and so his test began. 1. How do you handle criticism? The next morning, the traveler continued his journey. Along the way, he met a group of villagers arguing about the best route to take through the mountains. One man claimed the left path was the safest, while another argued that the right path was shorter. The traveler, confident in his knowledge, stepped forward. "The left path is the better one," he declared. The man who had argued for the right path scoffed. "And who are you to decide? Have you walked this land more than we have?" The traveler felt his pride rise. He wanted to argue, to prove his wisdom, to show that he knew better. But then he remembered the monk's words. If your peace crumbles in chaos, then it is merely an illusion. He took a deep breath and smiled. "Perhaps you are right. Each path has its own lessons." The villagers were surprised, expecting a fight. But the traveler felt something shift within him. He had chosen peace over pride. Emotional maturity is tested when our knowledge or urge or authority is challenged. The immature react with defensiveness. The mature listen, reflect, and respond with openness. 2. Can you let go of control? As the traveler moved further, he met a farmer struggling to lift a heavy sack onto his cart. Feeling compassionate, he offered to help, but as soon as he touched the sack, the farmer snapped, "I don't need your help." The traveler was taken aback. He had only meant to be kind. Anger bubbled within him. How ungrateful. But then he remembered, if your peace depends on being appreciated, then it is not true peace. He bowed slightly and stepped back, allowing the farmer to do as he wished. As he continued his journey, he reflected, why did I feel anger? Was it because I wanted to help or because I wanted to be seen as kind? Emotional maturity is not just about doing good. It is about letting go of the need for recognition or control. The immature seek to control how others perceive them. The mature give without expectation, understanding that not all help is wanted or needed. 3. How do you handle rejection and loss? The traveler finally reached the mountain where the wise teacher resided. After climbing to the top, he reached the teacher's dwelling and bowed deeply. "I have come to receive the highest wisdom," he said. The teacher looked at him and said, "You are not ready. Go back." The traveler's heart sank. After all his effort, was he being rejected? His pride, his sense of worth, his entire journey felt meaningless in that moment. Anger, sadness, and disappointment battled within him. But then he remembered, if your peace is disturbed by rejection, then it is not true peace. He took a deep breath. Instead of pleading or arguing, he simply bowed. "Thank you for your teaching," he said, turning to leave. As he walked down the mountain, he felt lighter. He had not gained the wisdom he sought, but he had discovered something greater. His own mind was the teacher he had been searching for. The immature cling to outcomes and resist rejection. The mature understand that every experience, whether acceptance or denial, is a lesson in itself. True strength lies in letting go. As the traveler descended the mountain, he no longer felt the need to prove his wisdom, to control others, or to demand recognition. He realized that true emotional maturity was not about appearing wise, but about meeting life with openness, humility, and inner peace. He had come seeking the highest wisdom, but in failing, he had found it. For the greatest test of emotional maturity is this: can you remain at peace no matter what life brings? And so, the traveler's journey did not end. It had only just begun. The journey of the traveler reveals an essential truth. Emotional maturity is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be indifferent. It is about understanding emotions without being controlled by them. True peace does not come from avoiding challenges, but from transforming how we respond to them. 1. Criticism, the mirror of the self. Criticism is often seen as an attack, but in reality, it is a mirror. When someone questions our abilities, beliefs, or choices, our reaction reveals more about us than about them. If we react with anger, it shows attachment to our ego. If we react with sadness, it shows dependence on external validation. If we react with silence but hold resentment in, it shows avoidance rather than true understanding. A mature mind sees criticism as an opportunity. It asks, is there truth in this? Can I learn from it? Even if it is false, can I respond with grace instead of pride? Zen teaches that wisdom is like an empty bowl. It is useful only when it is open to being filled. When we resist criticism, we cling to a full bowl, leaving no room for growth. The wise one empties themselves again and again, allowing the universe to pour in new lessons. 2. Control the illusion that binds us. Control is a great deceiver. We believe that by managing circumstances, people, and even our own emotions, we can create a perfect life. But Zen reminds us, the tighter we hold sand in our fists, the faster it slips through our fingers. Emotional maturity is tested in how we deal with uncertainty and failure. Do we fight against reality, or do we learn to move with it? Do we force solutions, or do we allow wisdom to arise naturally? Do we need to be seen as helpful or good, or can we give without expectation? A person who constantly seeks control is like a sailor trying to stop the wind instead of adjusting their sails. The mature mind understands that control is an illusion, and true power comes from adaptability and trust in the unfolding of life. 3. Rejection and loss, the greatest teachers. Perhaps the most painful tests of emotional maturity are rejection and loss. When we are denied love, respect, or opportunities, our emotions rise like a storm. But ask yourself, who is suffering? Is it truly you? Or is it the ego that believes it deserves a certain outcome? The traveler, when rejected by the teacher, faced the ultimate lesson. Nothing is permanent, and no experience defines your worth. That we can, emotional maturity is not measured by how much we achieve, but by how we respond when things don't go as we plan. Can we accept that not all doors will open for us? Can we trust that rejection is redirection? Can we walk away from what no longer serves us without bitterness? When we attach to expectations, we suffer. When we let go, we are free. Living these truths in daily life, the greatest test of emotional maturity is not non-grand spiritual journeys, but in everyday interactions. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do you react with anger or patience? When a friend forgets your birthday, do you feel resentment or understanding? When someone speaks harshly, do you absorb their negativity or remain centered? The enlightened ones, not those who escape the world, but those who can move through it with peace. They do not force, grasp, or fight against reality. They flow knowing that every challenge is a chance to deepen their wisdom. A Zen saying reminds us, the bird does not cling to the sky, and yet it flies. The river does not clutch the earth, and yet it flows. The wise one does not grasp at life, and yet they live fully. So ask yourself, in this very moment, do I respond or react? Do I embrace change or resist it? Do I seek external validation or find peace within? Emotional maturity is not something we achieve and then forget. It is a practice, a way of being. It is a path of wisdom, the path of Zen, and so the traveler's journey continues, and so does yours. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.